Hello everybody, my name is JJamJim, and welcome to a brand new Let's Play series / tutorial walkthrough of City Skylines True Vanilla. In this playthrough, we are going to learn some things about City Skylines in general, learn some things about traffic, building techniques, things that I like to use when I play this game. We are using all of the DLCs that are available for this game, but we are playing it without mods. I have been asked many a time from people in my streams over on Twitch, and also people on this very channel, about when am I going to create some more City Skylines content. And it is finally here. Park Life has just come out. When this video has made, it is come out the week actually after this is coming out, and it is much overdue. I have a very old playthrough of my series. This is one of the very first things I ever put out on YouTube on this channel was City Skylines, and but it is very dated. I didn't really know a lot of what I was doing when I went into it, and I have decided I was really going up and down about whether or not to use mods, and I've decided that we're gonna do a true vanilla playthrough because I get a lot of questions from our console friends about Skylines, and since they can't use mods, and a lot of people don't like to use mods, and I think that there is a way. You know, mods are so prevalent in this game, and they're great. Don't get me wrong. But we're also gonna touch on some things that mods can do for you that we can't do in vanilla. But the goal of this is to run down some things that Skylines can offer and how to make stuff still beautiful even in a vanilla run. So here we are. We are doing a boreal map. This is the Blackwoods map. This is one of the orig, man. This is like straight up OG of the City Skylines. This was in the base game, I believe, of City Skylines. So, I decided to do a boreal map because I do think that the boreal vanilla look of the map is the better one of the game. I find temperate and tropical maps feel a little yellow to me, but I think boreal look really nice. I also like a good pine tree, right? Who doesn't love a good pine tree? Now, here's our starting map. We are playing, again, as I said, vanilla. We are not playing with any of the, even in-game mods. So we're going to go progressions all the way through, and we're going to talk about all the things you need to get started in Skylines. Now, if you have any questions, I don't want this to be so dry and boring, though, that we don't keep moving forward, so I am definitely going to be skipping over some things. There is so much this game has to offer, so please do ask questions down in the comments. Leave me some feedback. Make sure you hit me up when we're streaming for questions. Hop in our Discord, all that stuff. And I will try to the best of my ability to answer any and all questions you may have. So, this is our starting square, and again, we have all the DLC, and I will try as we kind of move through to discuss, you know, what comes from which DLCs. Sometimes it's hard to remember, because some of them came out, you know, over 3 years ago at this point, so it's hard to remember. I am on our Jazz station. This was an added DLC, but as you can see up here, we have all of our radio stations. Some of them are add-ons, some of them are that come in the base game, that came in patches, and some you have to buy. And I think the Jazz one I was a downloadable content that I purchased. But anyway, let's get started. So here we are with our starting plot. Now, with your starting plot, what I find that even I run into sometimes. Now, let's just build this little bit of road because you won't have access to your other roads until you build just a little bit, okay? So we'll delete it, but as you can see, now the rest of the roads pop up. Now, you don't have access to all the roads. You will eventually, but they only give you access to a very few roads. So instead of being able to build highway and continue pulling the highway through, we're just going to have to pull a 2-lane road through. Now, This approach is a little bit longer, but sometimes on maps, you'll get where your interchange is right here, and you only have just like a little bit of room. What I find that beginners tend to do is start building, you know, their neighborhoods like right here, right off of it. What you want to do is you want to give yourself a little bit of room. Okay? You definitely want to give yourself a little bit of room before you move, because what you're going to want to do, right, is you're going to want to build a road going over the highway to give yourself an interchange. Now, everybody you can find videos on YouTube for days about how to start a city, right? What's the best way to start? Different people have it. That's the beauty of this game. There is no right or wrong answers necessarily. There are only strategies that people like to use. And it is a sandbox game to an extent. So however you want to build is however you want to build. I'm just here. I am not an expert. I do not claim to be an expert at this game. But I have spent a lot of time in it. I enjoy it immensely. And so I want to pass on some of the knowledge that I use so you can maybe use or not use in your cities. So do not take anything I say as gospel. If you have a better strategy, let me know. I'd love to hear it. Okay, so you definitely want to give yourself an approach, because you don't want to butt yourself up against another interchange so fast, because when people are starting to come off of here and then they have to merge again, the Sims get confused. They're not the smartest folk, okay? And so they're going to get confused, and you need to make sure that you can avoid, you know, as much confusion as possible. So making sure you have a long gap between interchanges is good, because then they don't have to immediately merge into the right lane to get off again, and then you have backups and it just becomes a whole mess. I'm actually going to move this up a little further yet. Just a smidge. Now, just for reference, because there's no number of tiles here, right? This bar, this is 10 units. Each of those bars is 10 units. Just for reference. Okay. Am I using the wrong road? Ah, I was already using the wrong road. See, look, what a great teacher I am being. So obviously make sure that you have it all going the proper way. It's nice though, in one of the patches that came out, that when they added the arrows, very, very excellent. You used to have a mod for that. Now you do not. So what I like to do is, after I build out a little bit, I like to simply take my 4-lane road. I like to make sure that my elevation steps are only at 3-meter increments. So this is 3, 6, 9, and 12. You can make your increments by 12s. So now I would be going up by 12, right? If I had the middle one, it would be going up by 6. So there you go. I like to generally keep my increments down to go up by 3s. Just because I like to, sometimes you don't always want to go up by 12s, right? Especially when you're building like something that's going up over something that isn't very high, you might not want to go by 12. This, for example, though, you're going to want to go 12 units above your highway. You can do 9. Traffic will be able to get under by 9, but you will be clipping, some stuff, and it does feel like it's pretty tight. So I generally like to do 9, but that is, again, personal preference. You can do 9 as if you like. So what I do is bring it across here. Okay, this is going to be our intersection, our interchange, where people will get off and on and pass through our city. So I use this. Again, this is 10 units. I like to go down to our length here, and that is 12 is the longest you can go on a ramp. So if I go to 13, see how it'll shorten it like that? 12 is the longest you can do, and that is a really nice down approach. It's really, really nice and smooth. Same over here. Down to 0, 12 units. Okay? Great. So, over here, I'm going to use this to attach my off-ramp. Now, when doing off-ramps, you want to make sure that your approach is pretty long, especially in an area where there's going to be larger amounts of traffic. Now, eventually, we will be upgrading that road to the highway ramp, but we need to have a population of 1,800 people before we can unlock that. So for now, this is going to be our off-ramp version. Same deal over here. It's not the coolest looking thing, but for now, we need functionality, okay? We don't need anything super fancy just yet. We don't have a lot of money to spend. As you can see, we've already spent 5,600. Or, I'm sorry. Oop, and I should be paused. See, there's a learning example right here. If you don't pause, you will start to pay maintenance every week on the roads that you've built. So what you don't want to do is let the game run while you're building, because you will slowly start to lose money. And that's not good. So you don't want to spend a ton in the beginning here. You just need the basics. So let's go. Oh, another note. I will be doing a little bit of terraforming. I will do some terraforming discussions, but I won't do a lot of it. I'm trying to avoid not doing too much of it to the point where it completely changes a whole lot of things, because for my console friends, terraforming is it's not an easy thing to do on console, and there's really not a great method for it yet. There will be eventually, but I want to show that all this is possible without doing a lot of terraforming. So let's go out here. I think on this side, because we're along this lovely river, we're going to spend, we're going to put a residential and commercial over here. And then over here, we are going to have our industry. Now, you can see that there's this like patch. I believe that's oil or it's fertile fields. Honestly, I can't even remember. And we can't look at that yet. Here's our menu over here. We can't really check that out yet, but in the future we will. And maybe we can get some industry going over there. So for now, let's go over here. Let's extend this out. I think we'll end up crossing this river with this bridge. And see how that slopes up a little bit? That's not a bad slope, though. It's not wavy. It still looks pretty nice. So I think that's okay. And then what I'd like to do is go out this way. Okay. Now, this slope isn't bad either. Now, if you don't want to have just a straight right turn and you wanted to make this a curve, for example, what you can do, it's very simple, is you can just take these two off, grab your curved road. There's a curved road and there's freeform. Freeform allows you to make a curve of like sort of anything, right? Whereas the curved tool will allow you see how that lights up, that dotted line lights up. That lets me know that if I click here, that will give me a perfect 90-degree turn. Well, maybe it's not a perfect 90-degree turn. It looks perfectly 90 to me, but it gives you the perfect curve to land on this road so you're straight. So if you did that, now you have a nice curve instead of just a straight intersection there. Now, I don't think we're going to do that for this because I am going to want to continue straight on. So we will just keep this back to there. All right. Now, inside of here is you want to put some neighborhoods, okay? So what I generally do, I'm also going to try not to use the word generally all the time because I feel like that's going to come out a lot this playthrough, is when you're creating neighborhoods, you want to make sure that you don't have too many intersections. Because if you have a lot of intersections here, you will cause traffic lights. Now, you can. Here, I'll show you that in a second here. So let's just do. Let's go a little bit over, and let's go like that. That. What we're doing is we're really maximizing our zoning squares here, which is really good in the beginning because you are going to need to, you want to get in a lot of residential early. And I will connect all of these. The other thing you don't really want to do, I think you really want to avoid, is not building too close to your highway or too close to an interchange because you might end up changing that in the future or adding ramps to it. And if you build too close, then you're going to end up destroying a lot of your neighborhoods. Now, if you know that you're tucked in and this is like your final area, but we don't know that. It's too early to say that now. So we need to just make sure that we're preparing a little bit for the future and saying, you know what, I don't know what this highway is going to look like in 2 hours of gameplay. So let's just leave it alone until we're satisfied with it, because we're also going to add more tiles. You know, we're going to make this, you know, it's going to look a lot different probably in the future, right? Right now, we're just trying to unlock some things and get some population here, get some money going. So I'm going to see if I can actually kick out one more. And it's going to let me. There we go. Thank you. Oh, this channel has some lovely ads on it as well. Well, isn't that nice? So I'm going to go like this. Now, of course, grids are not that fun or sexy, but they're very efficient, and frankly, most neighborhoods are grids. And in the beginning, it is the most maximized efficiency you're going to get for your zoning, so I think it's good. Now, what I was saying about the intersections. You have down here, it's traffic routes button, okay? If you click on this, it will show you all of your transport types. So, obviously, we don't have any people, but you can filter by where people are going and how they're getting around your city. Very, very handy. I believe this functionality came with mass transit. I think it might have been a patch, though, that was added later. I honestly don't know. Again, I'm no expert. I'm just playing a beautiful game, and I'm just showing you what I like. So here is the Junctions tab, okay? And then we can see all of our intersections. Now, what I was saying about the intersections is this is, again, 10 units, right? So every 10 units, you probably don't want a traffic light because that is going to slow a lot of traffic down. And because this is all going to be residential in here, there's not going to be, it's only going to be localized traffic. No one's going to be coming through. There aren't going to be super huge trucks coming through this neighborhood. So it's going to be relatively low traffic. So what you want to do, or what you can do, I would have a light here, but what in between the traffic lights, have a stop sign. Give yourself a little bit of space to not have a traffic light at every intersection, because then you just cut down on some of that stuff, and then you make this, you know, make them stop here. And I think that's a good way to do it, because then you're not having too many traffic lights. The other thing you don't want to have is, I think as a beginner, I did this a lot, and this is something that you should definitely try to avoid. If this is my off-ramp, right? And this is where all my traffic's coming off of. They're crossing the street. It's very busy. This bridge is going to get very busy. It's going to get very congested. Sometimes you can run into stuff like where you go, you know, I'm going to build my thing right here, and then I'm going to pile a bunch of commercial on here, and I'm going to do all this stuff. What happens is these are going to be very close together, and it's going to get super congested right here. So making sure you have a long runway of space before you have your first intersection. I would even go out to here. Like, it would be even best to not have an intersection here. We may have a road come this way, but not a high traffic road. But give yourself a lot of space there, okay? There's plenty of room in this thing, right? We can have 9 tiles in vanilla. So plenty of space. Make sure you stretch your legs. Don't pack yourself in too much, because there's gonna be a lot of room to play later. And if you can avoid traffic problems, you should avoid them. All right, let's get some power going. Now, we can do wind. It is the cheapest option to do it. We can do coal as well, but it does get pretty pricey. It is 19,000 straight up and 560 a week versus the wind turbine, which should give you enough power at least to get started, and it's only 6 grand. But before we do power, let's go over here and mirror a little bit of what we're doing. Maybe not as long. Let's go down. Okay. Let's do the same thing over here, but this will be for industry. So I'm going to give industry a few roads, but I'm going to give them a little bit more space. And I think that will be good for now. We won't have industrial demand until we have all of our... because as you can see down here in our RCI demand, residential, commercial, industry, we obviously just need people right now. And then after residential, you will get commercial demand. And then once that starts getting bustling, then you'll have industrial demand. Industry takes a lot of traffic. So it's best to have it separated where they can get on and off of the highway as quickly as possible. We are going to want to do this. Do the same thing over here for this side. Now, obviously, this is not going anywhere yet, but So there won't be people obviously going down this way or coming from this way, but it's just good to have them able to do it on both sides. So, because really, when your trucks are coming out, they're only going to go back this way because there is no... they can't get anywhere over here, right? Like, they're not going to need to get to this side because there's nowhere to go. Makes sense. All right, so let's do some power. Now, we do have some wind right here. I think we'll maximize this. Is there 8? 8 is the maximum megawatts you can get from a wind turbine. There is not over there. Nor over here. We could do it over here. However, now we're going to have to run power longer. But maybe what we should do first is see where our water is. So let's put our sewage outflow. And sewage outflow is always going to want to be down river from your water intake. That is, if there's anything you should learn, it is that. Because it's very, very important. So as you can see, the water is flowing down in this direction. So this would be a great place to put our water outflow, where our sewage will flow and all the poop will run downriver. So you want to make sure that you just have your water intake just a little bit upstream. I mean, this is a pretty good current, so you can even probably put it here, but just to be safe, let's just make it up here. Okay? Then you're going to want to run your pipes to it. Okay, and for pipes, everyone has their own way of doing pipes. What I like to do is maximize efficiency by just doing what I need. Some people like to run it under their roads, which is a very realistic way of doing it. However, you don't see them all that often. They do cost maintenance, so I think you should make them as efficient as possible. Now, when you build it out, just as a note, if you go out a construction cost of $440, that is the perfect level to have just a wee bit of overlap. 440. Okay. Now, we'll go back over here. 440. Then you have a little bit of that overlap to make sure everyone is covered. Not enough money. Very good. Very good. Well, isn't that interesting? Okay, so we can do that to get a refund, although we're not going to have enough money. Okay. See, you run into problems. This is why you have to watch your money. So we're going to get this 8 megawatts right here. Okay. We're going to run our thing here and not have enough money. Goodness gracious. Oh boy. When you delete roads, you do get a refund. What a terrible intro video this is. But you know what? It's learning, right? We're learning with it. $300. We don't have any power to our area. So let's knock out one of these. See if that will give us enough money to run a power line to here. And it will. Okay. So, see it? There you go. Lesson learned. You do not want to bite off more than you can chew when it comes to building. Okay? Because this doesn't look like we built that much, right? We only have 78 bucks left. Okay? And most of this has been water coverage. Here I talked about saving money. Well, we don't even have enough. Now, that's why you want to make sure that when you're building, you don't want to have your stuff too much far apart, because all of this stuff costs money. So there's a lesson learned. We were able to get out of it, thankfully. But once we hit play, we will not have any money to do anything. So what we need to do is make sure that the first place that they are spawning houses is right here. So then we can make sure that power is connected. And once it's connected, we will add more houses. So let's just get started with that and see what happens. Let's hit play. I'm going to put it on to 2 speed. We can see we're starting to lose money. There we go. Our first house is in. And as you can see with the power, it is now connected to there. And they will have access to water pipes. So now that those are up, I'm going to slowly start to zone all of this. And we're going to start to see that we're going to get some taxpayers in here. Our very first citizens here in vanilla valley. Lovely. Soft jazz in the background. What more could you ask for? Yeah, as you can see, we're starting to lose a lot of cash per week. That will come up as we start to make some more money. As we start to get more people in here. And now you can see there's a little bit of demand. Low demand for commercial, low demand for industry. Of course, we destroyed all this over here. We may have to end up just putting some industry over here for a brief time. But let's see what we can get away with here. Let's do some more of that. Generally speaking, I like to plop commercial on our 4-lane road, but it is nice once in a while to create small pockets of commercial because they do make noise, but what's kind of nice is having little corner shops because realistically, that is a lot of how at least American neighborhoods are, and I think around a lot of the globe, that is generally what you will see in neighborhoods is there's little corner gas stations, there's little shops that people can go to shop to. And honestly, having mixed zoning like that does create better traffic flow because then they don't have to travel as far to go and do their shopping. Now, as you can see, we are getting a huge boost for industry. So let's add a little bit more commercial. I don't know if our power is going to reach. So maybe we do a line of shops just down this way for now. So we can use that power. We'll get to the industry, but for now I would like to shy away from it if we can until we can maybe build some roads, but I don't know if that's going to happen. Because our first milestone isn't until 320 people. And that's where we'll unlock taxes, loans, which is good because then we can raise taxes a little bit and make some more money. Garbage, healthcare, education. We'll need to get all that stuff. The Sims will start to demand it. Okay, for now, I'm going to put a little bit of industry right here. You want to make sure it's pretty far away from your residential and commercial because it is very loud, it is very, very noisy, and it does pollute. You want to make sure that your citizens are not getting polluted and, you know, having oil and things spill into their backyards and then their kids eat it and then they get sick and die, and it's very all bad. Here come our first citizens now that they've all moved in, their houses are in. Here they come. Very lovely. We will be in the green relatively soon, which will be nice. I am going to put some more, well, see, we don't have any demand for residential right now, but I think we have a little bit more of the commercial. But mostly it's all this. Now they are out of water and power on this side. Right. Okay. So we're gonna call an audible here. This is the beauty of this game. Just if stuff isn't working, just destroy it. So we're gonna unzone that because they're not gonna make it anyway. They have water on this side though. Sorry, fellas. You have to move to the other side of the road where you have water, but no power. You're not gonna have actually any power over here. Well, what if we were to do that? I don't know if we're gonna get any people moving in there, but I'm doing a really bad job in this tutorial. So our first episode. See, look at this. You can spend hundreds and hundreds of hours in this game and still make mistakes, right? Now, I could have cut all this out and restarted, and you would never have guessed. And I could have done it better, but what's the fun in that? Because now we're actively learning. I guess this is maybe better. Maybe this is going to be better in the long run. So they're going to complain about energy until we can get them some. But we do have a little bit more demand for some houses, so I'm going to actually take these out for now because I want them to spawn here. So we can maybe jump this power over to here. I don't know if that's going to happen. It's possible we can hit our next milestone, 320. Yeah. Might not happen. Let's bump it up to the 3 speed here. Let's see what happens. we may need to do... Where's that power at? Okay, so if we did this... So a little bit of industry over here. This is completely not what you want to do, but we're in a bit of a sticky situation here. So for now, we're gonna have to go with the flow because we gotta get in the green. There we go. Now we're definitely gonna want to move this stuff as soon as possible because it's gonna cause all sorts of problems. Just want this power to jump. That's all I want. If I did this. Now, see, look at that. We zoned almost too much of it. I'm going to get rid of this, actually. And we're going to cut back on the amount of industrial. Because now we're having a nice giant influx for more houses. So let's make sure we follow your RCI in the beginning. Never in doubt. When in doubt, follow your RCI. That does not rhyme, but it is good to... It's good information. So we're just going to roll with that. I was hoping that we could hit our first milestone before we end this episode, and I think we're going to... Let's do it. Here we go. Now we're starting to get people in here. There we go. We got our first achievement unlocked. So again, taxes, loans. They will now want garbage, services, healthcare, and education. So that unlocks the clinic, landfill, elementary school, recycling center, and community school. The recycling center and community school came with the Green Cities DLC, which is available on Steam, of course. And these are great to have. They pollute a little bit less. The community school is just an alternative for the regular elementary school, which is nice. It's a very nice looking asset, so we'll have to plop that stuff down when we have a little bit of money. So obviously we get a little bit of influx of cash as well when we unlock our first thing. But the first thing I'd like to do after I get that first unlock is go into our budget tab or our economy tab. Go over to your taxes, okay? The default is 9%. You can go all the way up to 12% tax rate before they start complaining. You can always drop it later, but early on, to get a little bit more money, put it to 12. Put it to 12 so you can make sure that you get in that sweet, sweet green. There we go. Now we're starting to make some money again. That will be very, very helpful. All right, everybody, that is going to do it for our very first episode. I think next time we will plop down our first services of the city and get some of that stuff rolling. We'll also move to the other side of the highway here to get our industry away from our people and our businesses, and so we don't make sure we don't pollute as much as possible over here. So everybody, thank you so much for watching this first episode. Please let me know if you are enjoying the content below. Leave a like, subscribe if you haven't, and I look forward to more of this. I'm really glad to be back to doing more City Skylines videos, but I would love to hear what you all think, so I'd love to see some comments from all of you. Be great. Thank you again, guys, and we'll see you in the next episode. Bye, everybody.